Well, now that it's dark, and I didn't get to do anything I wanted to do but eat and go shit and pee. I didn't even get to shower today because I have to skip a day, and I forgot to write another post. I woke up early today, but then I fell back to sleep because I didn't want to deal with today. I didn't want to deal with any day because I can't deal with it. I have nothing to deal with each day. Meaning, I don't have the money to stay alive, to be a part of the world. Because of my fucking Duddy and his clan and the gang and the mafia and the mob fucking with my life. So anyway. No, shut the fuck up. I don't give a fuck. Anyway. As I was sitting in 7-Eleven parking lot eating my soup, I had just finished making and preparing, heating up my tea and drinking, which I didn't even get to drink much of. And I unplugged this, so I don't need to keep it plugged. I don't have to hold it. I can drink my tea. I've drank half of it. About half. But it's like a little bit more than lukewarm already. And I don't have any more money to heat it up because I got $1 for each day I got to heat up my food. So anyway, I don't know what time it was when my son called, but my son has been calling me often. I'm starting to regret it, but no, it's coming together, but God is still making things, it's not 100% better. He's allowing my son to call me and talk to me and carry on conversations and do as I asked him to do, but at the same time, God is using it in a bad way to make him kind of be mean to me, so to speak, sarcastic, so to speak, because he doesn't know my life story from the past, which the devil, aka God, is doing to me, but using my son. I'm going to explain to you. Anyway, let me say this. When I woke up this morning, I think I don't want to say the second, maybe was it the second time? I don't know, but it was 11:57, around 11:57, 58, 59, when I hear a tinker, or a pitter-patter on my windshield. And it was a few little raindrops. The sunshine was still out. It was still sunny. Just a few little raindrops. Just enough to wake me up. Because it was loud. They were tiny drops, but they were heavy. So it made a loud sound on my windshield, like an ice crackling. That was from like 11:57, 58, 59 till it stopped at like 12 o'clock p.m. on the dot, because my phone was laying right on my armrest on my center console. So as I'm laying down on my side, I pick up the phone with my eyes squinted open and I see the time and I'm like, okay, I put it back down. I don't even give God any acknowledgement. I just go back to sleep because I have a heavy bladder. I had a full bladder. And my kidneys and bladder were hurting me. And I really didn't feel like getting up. I didn't really feel like going in to take a shower because I only have 4 towels. If I took a shower today, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, what about Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday? Okay? So I don't get my check until either the 25th, the 26th, 27th. I don't fucking goddamn know when it's going to hit the bank and when the bank is going to release it. I'm tired of stressing. Because the way that the first falls on, I can't remember, Monday, Tuesday, something like that, Wednesday, I don't know. And then, the bank usually releases it 2 days early. Okay, so if I have direct deposit, I get paid 2 days early. So I can't remember the dates. But anyway, you figure it out on the calendar. I already did. I just don't. I don't know if they're going to release it before Thanksgiving. I don't know. So I only have $10 in my account. Okay, $11. Okay, $11, and I have about $6.50 in my pocket of quarters, maybe $6, so I can heat up my food every day. Okay, which I'm going to have to skip a day or two because I don't have the money to last me for me. I'm sure they would let me heat up my Thanksgiving dinner. They know me, and they know that I will pay them the next day. If I don't get paid before Thanksgiving, I'll be able, but even if I don't get paid for Thanksgiving, I can still take out money, because if I take out money, how do I say, if I take out money like 24 hours before my check drops, I'll be covered. I won't get charged a fee. I don't get food stamps because of the fucking system. Okay? And because I'm white and they're black, so they're controlling the system. And they're trying to fuck the white people out of life, and my daddy is trying to fuck me out of my life because he's a gangster, so he has to be for them people. Okay, so he's not my people. He's not a white person. To me, he's like the rest of the enemies and haters and opposition. Now, I'm not racist and I'm not discriminating. I feed everybody out here. I buy for everybody when I can, according to my riches and my not my riches, but my income. Okay, and I bought a black homeless guy that I've known for a long time, since like 2006. Okay, and he's been homeless and rough and stuff like that. But I bought him a hot dog and a soda, or no, a cup of ice water. When I don't even eat a hot dog, once in a while, I don't prefer a hot dog. I mean, I like them, but I don't like them because I don't like eating meat. I'll eat chicken. I'll eat turkey when I'm a little bit iffy about that too. I don't even like eating eggs. Fried eggs or an omelet made in a home, but when I have to cook it in a microwave, it just doesn't, it's not the same as cooking it on a grill or on a pan on top of a stove. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm trying to pick the scab off behind my ear, but I don't have any nails. I cut them, so I can't. But anyway, I use my dirty nail clippers because it's itchy and it's bothering me. So, I've been asking my son for the longest to see if he could have his dad find the bag of pictures that I gave them to hold on for me back in the day, like around 2017, 18, or 19. So, he found them for me finally after like a year or two worth of asking him, okay? Because God did me a favor but didn't. He's doing, I don't want to smell fucking, oh my fucking God, I can't wait till drugs are gone. Go fuck yourselves. So, I have to talk, but I don't want to smell this fucking drugs. So anyway, they finally got the bag of pictures for me. And they've got my mail for me that I asked for like 2 or 3 days ago. When I went up there I was hoping to get it that day, but I didn't. Because they didn't get it for me, so they didn't have it ready for me. So, because they were using my son to be the bad guy, to make me not have gas money, to make me go through my gas, because God knew I was not going to stay in that area, because I didn't want to stay by the gym and then the bar that's over there and all the crackheads that are over there. So, and all the people that do drugs behind the shopping center. So, and I found that out by the guy that got arrested for raping a 15-year-old, which I have to testify for in January. Well, I have to go to the, whatchamacallit. I have to go to the, to give my deposition of events of how I'm connected, how I know him, and the kind of person he is, and and the messages that he's sent me on my phone, that left on my phone. So I got to make sure I download them all. I downloaded most of them, but I got to make sure I can find I got to download them to my email, most of all. So anyway, I think I did, but I got to check. I don't know how many of them I did. But anyway. So anyway. I told you about the rain this afternoon. Then my son calls me probably about 2 hours by now. It was a little before 4 o'clock or something. I don't even know what time. I knew when I was on the phone with him what time it was, but I can't remember now. Because I'm angry. So, as I was sharing his videos and other people's content, he calls me. And as I was writing down my son's emails, not email, but all of his websites, so I could find out which one is which, because I'm confused with all of them. I can't memorize which one is which, because I have too much on my mind. He doesn't understand, because he's not stressed out like me. He hasn't been done wrong. And God is protecting him, so his spirit hasn't been affected like mine has. And I'm fighting to protect me and his spirit, but the devil, aka God, is kind of not protecting him in a way, because he's protecting him but not protecting him. He's making my son feel like he's a part of the clique. So he's not affected by what they're putting me through. And they're making my son become one of the bad guys. Okay? Because his father doesn't want me to make it. Okay? My family doesn't want me to make it. My daddy doesn't want me to make it, because then that ends his game. You know Ed Sheeran's song, The End Game? And I forgot who he sings it with. But anyway, that's what they're doing to me. There's two meanings to the end game. One about how the game is going to end with my son's daddy and my family, my haters and enemies, if and when I allow my stalker in. But I'm not. I'm not going to count my stalker in, because he is making himself a bad guy. And I don't want to have no part of them for the shit that they caused in my life. Because he's been a part of all this, all these years, working behind the scenes with my daddy. And my son's daddy. And my son. And I don't want no part of them. For many reasons. Because I'm disgusting. They've damaged my life beyond all... Beyond repair. Okay? I'm picking off a scab now from the scabies. It's still... Because I've put medicine on, I put the cream on, but it's not strong enough. It's the no-name brand. It's not the strong brand. It's not the Quell. I need the Quell. And there's another one, but I can't remember it. That one smells, but that one too isn't very good. I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember the name of it. Lindane lotion. But it's not a very strong, it smells strong, but it doesn't work like the Quell does. The Quell is a thicker, stronger, potent cream than the one I have. The one I have is more watery than it is of the ingredient that is needed to kill these bugs. So they're just giving me enough relief to kind of get me through what I'm going through. Now, I took the scab off, but it doesn't mean it's all better, because it's going to be a little bit raw, and I can still feel like an indentation. So that means that the buggy, it's like a little, it feels like an anthill. Like there's a surrounding, but then there's like a little dent from the missing skin. But then there's, like, around the edges, I can still feel like there's the little mites, because they're not dead. So anyway, I don't smell the marijuana anymore. Oh Oh my fucking God. I hate yous all. I fucking hate yous. If you choose to smoke, drink, drug, sex, party, fuck, suck, dick, and lick, I hope it fucking kills you. Because it's killing me. Because it's for many reasons. It's making the money go in all the wrong direction, like being spent incorrectly. It's like, okay, God gives you money to survive. Buy food, clothing, pay your bills, pay your car payment, car insurance, gas, insurance, whatever, your rent, your mortgage, your bills, whatever. And you just go and smoke, drink, drug, sex, party, fuck, suck, dick, and lick. I hate to break it down to you and be the bearer of bad news and be the brutal truth to you people. But let me tell you, those things are causing an imbalance in life. You're not losing in life because of white Trump or white America. You're losing because you're choosing to listen to the devil and smoking, drinking, drugging, sexing, partying, fucking, sucking, dicking, and licking. Those are not of life. They're of pleasure. What things are of pleasure? They're costly, right? And when you overspend and it becomes costly, what happens? If you spend the only amount of money you have, what happens? You don't have enough to pay what you're supposed to, right? Okay? Now, for like me, for instance, Dr. Coy Barker, it's your elevation time. Oh, fuck off, you fucking lying assholes. Yeah, by having my son go to Disney with 2 friends tomorrow. Fuck you. Because, anyway, I didn't get to finish telling you. My son called me for 2 things. He told me, for one thing. He told me I had a lot of mail. I knew because it's been about 2 or 3 months since I've been there to get my mail. Because either I was sick and I didn't want him to see me the way I was sick because my skin was very badly broke out. So I couldn't go get my mail. And I didn't have the money, the gas money, because I had to pay for car repairs. And I was strapped for money. I was barely able to eat. And I couldn't go there and do anything for my son because he has enough money for himself. He don't need me for anything. Because God blessed him because of me praying. Just like God blessed his father because of me. So anyway, my son is being pulled in by the enemy. I'm trying to hang on. It's a tug of war. I'm trying to hang on to my son and not let him go and be pulled into the enemy's territory and to their tricks and snares and traps and whatnot. Okay? Because every one of you don't want to see me with my son. Why? Because it makes you feel better to make me suffer. I ain't got money to feed any one of you. I ain't got money to pass on to other people. I need the money to survive. I don't get food stamps. I don't work. Why? Because I'm white. Everybody else is taking over my jobs. And now I look like a crackhead. Ain't nobody gonna hire me. I don't smoke, drink, drug, sex, party, fuck, suck, dick, and lick. You know who does? My mommy and daddy. And all my brothers. I don't, because I've suffered because of a goddamn prick that my mother was with, and because of my goddamn prick-ass, stupid-ass motherfucking daddy. Gangster fucking asshole. And I'm suffering for all of you rich motherfuckers and you poor motherfuckers that are out here making the alcohol companies rich, and all these other companies that have an abundance of money that they don't need. But you know what's going to happen? This whole devil's kingdom is going to fall in like a house of cards. And then you know what else is going to fall down? Everything within the devil's kingdom. Whether you have money or not. It's going to affect the rich and the poor. The smart and the stupid. The smart and the not so smart. Or the smart that think they're smarts but they're not know-it-alls. See, if you're wondering why I'm still surviving, I have a brain. I know how to use my heart, my mind, body, and soul, and how not to use my brain, heart, mind, body, and soul. and I control my spending. I don't pleasure myself with eating out every day. I don't eat the garbage food out here every day. I don't spend $10 a day at 7-Eleven. I don't spend $100 or $1,000 a day at Walmart. I don't spend $1,000 a day or whatever at the airport. I don't spend $1,000 a day at the gas station. I don't spend $1,000 here, $1,000 here, $1,000, 10,000, 100,000. No. And then you expect to get more? Are you fucking crackheads? Are you crazy? See, the kingdom that was once is not going to be anymore. So all of you that are making money or have made money, it's going to start to decrease and decline. Because people are going to start being greedy with their money. But you know what? God's got one above them. The money system is going to be obsolete. Because the money system is the root of all evil. It's not just the love of money. It's the root of all evil. Because we're in a diverse group of people. And they all want to rule the world. They all want to take over. They want to win the kingdom for their people. That's what it's about. That's what the four-horse story is about. From the north, south, east, and west. They're all trying to go for that pot of gold in the middle. They're all trying to go for that what do you call it? That thing, that sector thing, so to speak. That thing so that they can say, oh, I have the power. That's what they want. They want to be able to control everything. But they don't even know how to control themselves and their families. They don't know what's wrong. They know not what they do. In their mind, and it ain't even in their mind, it's just stuck in there that their people were done wrong, that they got to avenge their people because the country was taken from them wrongfully. No, it wasn't. My life was taken from me wrongfully because of my daddy and my mommy. And the system. Okay? So if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, it's the system that took your land from you. Your system that you followed that was wrong. Just like when you're doing an equation problem and you do it wrong. What happens? You don't pass to the next grade, right? If you don't pass that subject with a passing grade, you get kept behind, right? Right. The same thing in life. If you don't do the right things in life, your people go back and back and back, shrink back, while the others rise up, the ones that are doing right. Like by the ways that God has used my son, has used me, he has blessed my son with the cracks, the nooks and crannies and the cracks in the system. So my son and his daddy have only become rich off the cracks in the system. Okay? But it's not always going to be like that. They think that it's always going to be like that. No. It's not. Okay? And I don't have time to click on everybody's in order for you to make a lot of money, you have to have people to share your content. You have to have people. People don't have that much time in the day to do that, especially if they're working full time. There's people working 2 and 3 jobs, or they have to travel to get to this place, that place, that place, and they have to take care of their family. They have to go shopping. They have to go to doctor's appointments. They have to do this. They have to do that. They have to do this, do that. People don't have all the time to be on the phone sharing people's content. And then the people that live off of making content, they have to keep on continuing to make content. Nobody can. Okay, so everybody's making content. They want everybody to view their content. But yet, by me viewing everybody's content, I don't have time to make content. So I'm over here trying to help my son out when he doesn't need any help. He's going to Orlando with his friends because in 1997, when I was working for Cablevision from 1996 to 1997, and my stalker returned from his going away in 1996, but he came back to find me with Joe. I didn't intend on being with Joe, but because when my stalker went away, I had to leave my Dunkin' Donuts job because it got robbed twice. I was scared. I didn't want to get killed. I didn't know how far the devil was going to take it. I didn't want the third time for me to get shot. Okay, because he robbed with a gun. A big, tall, 6'2" black guy, okay? And he squished himself through the drive-through window. I couldn't believe that he was able to get through the drive-through window. So then, after they got robbed, they added another bar to the drive-through window so people couldn't climb in. So I risked my life. I had to quit. So then that made my life go spiral down financially because Dunkin' Donuts was my only job. I worked for their 2 locations. I worked for 4. I was trained in one on Huntington Turnpike. I think that's next to Tony's Huntington Inn or something like that. I worked with them too. They trained me for like a week to be a waitress. But I could have done the job, but I didn't feel confident in myself. I didn't have the missing part of my tooth, but I had my devil tooth, my vampire tooth, and my skin was a little broken out. I used to wear makeup, like cake down makeup, because I didn't have the money to buy the good stuff. And I had to prepare myself quickly, and I had sores that were seeping. So I couldn't waitress because of my skin condition. So I had to give up the job. I would have loved it because I would have gotten paid good with the tips. But I couldn't because the apartments didn't accept waitressing as a job because they got paid in mainly tips. So a lot of people that were working for tips, I don't know how they were able to get a home because a lot of those places didn't accept that as full-time work because it was up and down. It was not a steady field because just like with somebody that's a car repossessor, you'll have good nights, you'll have bad nights, you'll have good weeks, bad weeks, or good months, bad months, and people don't understand that. They want to be guaranteed that money, that good money, and in the devil's kingdom, all the bad jobs pay. And that's why there's a lot of people suffering. But the reason why we're suffering is because of the sin. The sin is the errors and mistakes within our way of life. Whatever. Okay, so back to my son when he called me about 2 hours ago. And I was writing down his web addresses or the things that I wanted to follow my son. So anyway, which I've been doing for about a few months now. But anyway, when he called me, he told me I had a lot of mail. Now, I knew that, but when I asked about it, he didn't know where it was, or they didn't give it to me on that day. So now that I'm in West Palm Beach and I don't have a lot of gas and I'm out of money, he wants me to come down and get my mail. I'm like, well, Brandon, I don't have a lot of money. And I don't have enough gas money to replace the half a tank of gas that I have left. And I have to make this half a gas of tank work to last me for the next 5-6 days until I get my check this month. And I really don't even have it then because I got to pay back $1,100 to my financial company that helped me get my car repairs done. So now I have to take out a pay advance because I'm going to pay it off because they're charging me like they changed their system. So by them changing their system, they're charging me more interest. Whereas the last one, it was only a $40 or $50 fee for the $700 or $800 they lent me. Okay, now they're trying to charge me like an extra $100. So if I let it go another month, I'm going to have to pay back another $100. And it's like my check keeps getting smaller and smaller to where I'm not going to be able to survive. And I'm trying to clear up my face. Having the medicine isn't going to help me get better because I need to eat to help my body clear up on the inside from the inside out to fight the infection. The medicine isn't going to help me if I can't eat to help the medicine help clear me up and fight off the infection. So anyway, that's why people die when they go in the hospital, because they don't eat properly, or they're not eating the right amounts of food, or the food is contaminated and it helps kill them off even faster. So if you can't take care of yourself out here, and you have to rely on everybody else when they have to live their lives, they ain't got time to take care of you. So anyway, so my son was talking to me, and then I heard his father in the background talking. So I asked him, I said, can you please ask him to check on the bag of pictures I gave you to hold on to for me a couple years ago. They found them. They finally found them. So my son told me that he's going to be going to Disney with a couple friends at the last moment. That they just called him and say, hey, look, we're going to be in so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. So now I have to worry about my son going to this place with all the shit that's going on in the world today. He doesn't understand this because he doesn't pay attention to what's going on in the world. And he thinks he's going to be safe. I have to worry about my son because he doesn't understand what's going on in the world. And my stalker being a part of this shenanigans, I'm not going to be with my stalker. I don't give a fuck. I'm ugly. I don't need a man. I don't need a dick. I don't need a pussy. I don't need a child. I had a child back in the day to help me survive because my family was fucking me over. Joe was fucking me over. He was a part of the fucking over in my life because my daddy used him in my life to be a part of the Bible experiment they were all doing with my life. Because his name is Joe, and they were trying to play me off as Mother Mary or Saint Mary and Joseph. My Uncle Paul, my Uncle James, that was married into the family, which was black. My aunt married him. Then my sister's uncles on her side of the family, Uncle Danny and Uncle David. David was the oldest. He died painfully. He died of hepatitis, his liver, he died horribly. Because he didn't have a good life either. Okay? He was an alcoholic. He didn't have much money to eat. And alcohol and the drugs and everything just ate away at him from the inside. And then catching a disease from a woman. And it just all, he died horribly. Horribly. And then, they played them all, and then my Uncle Danny, my sister's Uncle Danny, got a water grave. Him and Richie Noel were put in barrels and dropped down in the bottom of the river because they knew too much about my Uncle Paul, and so they all had to die. So I don't know how they killed him. I don't know if they stuffed him in the barrel alive, cut up, dismembered, tied up into just suffer in the barrel. I don't know. I don't know how he died, you know. So, what else? Oh, so, yeah, so then my son tells me, you know, and then my son is like so cold-hearted because he's being used by the bad guys that are making a mockery out of my pain and suffering. And then my son thinks I'm the problem. and he thinks that I'm a nobody. I'm going to be a nobody to him soon if he keeps up this shit. And then I'll join the bad guys, and everybody will fall down for what they've done to me. And then my son will be left with me and nobody else. But then it'll be too late. So he doesn't understand how the devil, how the bad guys are playing this all out. Okay, I'm going to be the last one of my family, but the last one of my family is my son because I have nobody else after my son. I'm the last one of my clan, and they're all on their way out. My sister, my brothers, and my mom, and then my duddy. They're on their way out. My aunt, too. They're getting old. They're in their 70s, approaching their 80s. They're not going to make it. Okay, and I'm not going to save them. They didn't save me. They left me out here in the wilderness with the wolves. And my cousins, I'm not going to be there for them. Yeah, I mean, my cousin Jimmy, yeah, I owe him for what happened to him by me. But also, he got his payment by making me homeless for 25 years, separated from my son. And I've lost my health, my well-being. So he got his payment. I didn't get no payment from my child molester. Oh, wow, a whooping, what, $1,000 or $1,500? Whoopee. That went on me surviving my pregnancy. I fed myself with my lawsuit that I got from my child molester of $1,500. That's what I got. That, and then my sister with her lawsuit, she got 15. We both got 1,500 because my mommy and Richie made him take out his money out of the bank. He had a lot of money, but they made him take out the money so that he only left a little bit in there for me and my sister. But as for my the money, my sister got a lawsuit from being hit by a car. So my mommy and Richie used her for that money, and then my sister's boyfriends used her for all the money, and her own cousin. So anyway, with that, my sister gave me $700. With that, I bought the neighbor's car that used to live next to my mom at that time, and that lived in the same house but on the first floor. They were selling their car because they didn't have any money for their rent. So they sold their car. And I bought it for $700. It wasn't worth $700. I mean, I got my money's worth out of it, but it could have been what killed me and my son. But it made my chest. It made me, by me talking, it's aggravating my chest congestion and my sinuses, my nasal whatchamacallit. But anyway, because I don't get to drink my tea while it's hot enough. And it's cold right now. And I only drank half of it when it was semi-warm. Because I was eating my hot soup. By the time I ate my hot soup and was fidgeting with the internet, and then my son calling me, I didn't get to drink my hot tea. So you see how the devil watching me from the cameras in my car, wherever they are, hidden cameras? Okay? They have everybody call me at specific times to cause damage to me. I couldn't turn my son's phone call away, no, because I want to talk to my son. I want to be in his life. But I had to sacrifice my hot tea for it. I don't have 50 cents to go back in the store to heat it up again. If I do, I'm not going to have any for tomorrow. Or for Monday, or Tuesday, or Wednesday. And I don't want to drive to Boynton Beach because I don't like that area. Because the area I would have to stay in, there's a bar in the parking lot. I don't want to hear people in a bar, especially women that think they're cool, by acting like they're whatever they are, okay? And me knowing that my stalker is with them, I don't like it. So I don't want to be down there. And the gym down there doesn't have really hot water. Where the one I go to has pretty good hot water to where I can get, it can heal my condition. Because I have to use the hot of water that I could take. And I'm not in control of that, but the devil is, and God. And I'm having a bad day today because of it being the 22nd. And because it's the 22nd, my Uncle Paul was killed at 22 years old because he snitched on the mob, or on his boss. He didn't actually. He was attempting. He had told, he got out of jail because he agreed to snitch. So by the time he was out, he didn't make it back to snitch. You know what I'm saying? They chased him all around, and he was in Salt Lake City, Utah, and that was in September of 1983, I think, when I got burnt with a hot cup of tea. And my grandmother got a hold of him somehow, or somehow he was able to call. He called like a payphone that was outside the Golden Hill Hotel on Golden Hill Street. Or somewhere, somehow like that. But I remember my grandmother talking to him, and I heard her saying, if you don't come see your niece, she's asking for her Uncle Paul. She goes, I'll never talk to you again. Guess what? She never did talk to her son again, until they found him dead in the Bronx, New York. So, she lost her other son, Albert, when he was a baby to a pneumonia, and then my Uncle Paul, at 22 years old, to gunshot wounds from being killed because of him snitching on the mob. But it was because of and it was because of his mom and dad, he had to join the gang. Because his father was the moneymaker. He was the one that took care of the family and worked 2 jobs. And my grandmother was a stay-at-home mom. She would work at I think it was Macy's at the Stratford Town Mall, I think, back in the day around the holidays for some Christmas money and whatnot. But she didn't help otherwise. And she was a smoker and a drinker. My grandfather was a smoker and a drinker. He had to work 2 jobs. He had to pay all the bills for the house, the boat, the car, the dog, the kids, and I'm sure he didn't eat very well back in those days because there was not many fast food restaurants or places that he could go to get food. And my grandmother was not a very good cook. So my grandfather's health went bad. And he was from Nova Scotia, Canada. And his family owned a store, but he felt that he wanted a better life. He didn't think that that was a good life by his family owning a store. So either they didn't take care of their son properly to make him happy, so he separated from them at 16, 17 years old. When he came to America and he found out for himself that the grass wasn't greener on the other side, he had to join the Navy. But he did it underage. But he had no other choice. So he joined the Navy underage, and he didn't, the Navy. The Navy is the boats. I believe that's what he was on. But I don't think he had to go through a regular boot camp training. I don't know what the training was back then. But he was underage. When they found out he was underage, he had already done almost 2 years. So they gave him an honorable discharge for the time he served. Plus, he did serve in one of the wars or something back then. I don't know what he did. I was only 2 years old. I wasn't even born then. But I was born in 74. He died in 76. When he met my grandmother, it was in the 50s. So I wasn't even thought of, you know what I'm saying? My mom wasn't even thought of, my aunt and my uncle. But anyway, so they met, I guess him and my grandmother met when my grandmother was dating somebody else. I guess maybe, I can't remember the story my mom told me, I can't remember. But I read his death certificate and the Navy, I read it, because somehow I obtained it. I can't remember. Oh, when I helped them move, and I had to get rid of the rest of their stuff. And I think the mail, I had to pick up their mail, and that was in their mail. So I had it, and I think that's what happened. I think, if I remember right. But anyway, so or I had to pick up their mail for them after, at a certain point, to get their mail at their old address in West Palm Beach before they after they moved to St. Pete's. But anyway, so back to the story. Well, I told you all that, but my son does not know the full story of my life. So when I was talking to my son and he told me about him going to Disney for a couple days, what happened was with his father being in the background, it reminded me of the same time back for me when in 1997, when I was working for Cablevision, and I was still in Bridgeport, and Joe was staying with me in my apartment. But then I had signed up to take a vacation because it was my first real vacation, and I didn't really want to go to Disney. I really wanted to move to Florida because I wanted out of the city of Bridgeport because it was nothing but drug-filled, rat-infested, drug addicts, drugs, drinkers, alcoholics, prostitutes, and everything was about the club life and about the rap and about this and about... It was driving me crazy. Okay? I didn't want to smoke, drink, drug, sex, and party and fuck, suck, dick, and lick. I was working so I could provide a roof over my head and food in my stomach, which I couldn't even afford. Because the money I made back then was only $5 an hour, working 20 to 25 hours a week, not even bringing home $100 checks. My rent at one point was $400 a month. The other one that I'm talking about now was $140 a week. It was a furnished one-bedroom apartment, third floor apartment. It was an attic apartment, but it was furnished, and it was like a one-bedroom apartment. The only thing is the roof was slanted, so my walls, it wasn't tall, but it was good enough for me. I didn't have a full bath. I had a shower and a toilet and a sink. And the floorboards were messed up in the bathroom. So it was an unfinished floor in the bathroom. And when I started working for Cablevision, I had a vision that I was going to fix up the apartment. But before I got the job at Cablevision, I was still working at Dunkin' Donuts. So I didn't have Joe with me then. I didn't meet Joe. Then I lost the job at Dunkin' Donuts. I was out of work for about 2 weeks. And so I fell behind in my rent. By the time I got another job at Pathmark Grocery Store, I was already a month behind in my rent. Then, now in my mind, I had plans to go to work for Cablevision before I worked at Pathmark, before I even worked at at Dunkin' Donuts. But I didn't have the money, and I didn't have the attire, the business casual attire, to work in a call center that they required you to have a business casual attire. So anyway, I didn't even own a pair of dress shoes. So, because the grocery stores required you to wear sneakers, jeans, either black or blue jeans, and like a white collared button-down shirt, and their store vest. Okay? And I only had one because I couldn't even afford that. Okay? And I had to keep on washing it. But after 2 and 3 days of wearing it, I didn't want to wear it anymore. So I had to wear an off-white shirt. What I should have done is worn my dirty white button-down collared shirt and just wore my husky sweater over it. So I could have said I was cold instead of getting fired or getting let go because I got 3 write-ups. I was late a couple times from coming from my other job to that job, because I got off of my Dunkin' Donuts job. I used to work the afternoon shift from 12 to 6. And I had to try to leave I had to leave right at 6 o'clock. But we had to count our own registers out. And I had to make sure I couldn't leave if the other person to cover the other shift didn't show up. And if they were late, it made me late. So there was a couple times I was late. And I missed the bus that went up North Main Street at like 10 after 6. I had to leave my job, run across the street up to the next corner to get the bus within the 10 minutes. And there was a lot of times I missed it. So I got fired for the 3 write-ups. And now they're not letting me charge my phone, and I have to leave my car on to charge it. So when my son calls me when he's coming to meet me tonight to give me my mail and my pictures, that he can find out where I'm at. So anyway, it's 20%. So I got to turn my car on, waste gas by idling when I could have driven down there, but I didn't want to stay down there when my son wasn't going to be home. So what happened? So anyway, after he hung up on me today because he didn't want to hear me because God tells him if she says anything or starts to talk about this or that, hang up on her. And that's what he did. So they won't let me tell him anything about my past or why. They want him to think that I'm this bad person. They're making him treat me like it's my fault, like I did something bad to my son. I never did nothing bad to my son. But yet his father smacked the shit out of his ass for sticking up for me. And I was trying to save him from being under his care. I was trying to take my son with me, and I wasn't trying to leave, but I was because I knew me and Joe were not meant to be. And I knew what was going to happen before it even happened. Because I was cursed because of my Uncle Paul and my family and their curse that affected and impacted me. And then, on top of that, the shit that they made happen because of because of the curses upon me that they made happen to me in my life made me upset. And I knew my daddy was a part of that system. He was a culprit. So when I called out to him and I reached out to him and he called me back, and the way he treated me over the phone, I knew he was a part of the problem. And so I said, okay, he wants to be like that. Okay, he wanted to fuck up my life. Okay, I got something for him. So he asked me to check on his license in Florida. That he used to be in Florida a year or two before I was, or something like that. And he ended up kind of disappointing me because I was hoping that he would be my point of help, that we could connect as father and daughter. But he wasn't ready to be a father. Having impregnated my mother, he was just an asshole. He just took advantage of my mother to use me so he could join the mob and be a part of the mob family. Okay, that's all it was about. So he would use me as a fucking piece of dirt. Or to drag me along so he could use me to make money in his... I got something for him and my mommy. I got something coming for them. So anyway, I can't... These lights are fucking bullshit. Where's my flashlight? Which is dying. I dropped my pen, which I need to write down. I have tons of pens. And what the fuck is this? A Band-Aid. A Tootsie Roll wrapper, I think. Yeah, from the Planet Fitness. Which I don't usually take any because they're poison. So I only do that when I'm low in money and I'm trying to save my my Hershey bars that I only have like 3 or 4 of, and I don't have the money to buy anymore. So anyway, where was I at? So they're making my son be a part of the bad guys. Okay, so what I was explaining was how when my son called me and we were on the phone together, and he was getting another phone call, and he said his friends just called him and they're coming down and they want to know if he wanted to go with them somewhere. So what's going on is it's a repeat of me and Joe in 1997 when I went on vacation. And then after I came back from vacation, I lost my job. They let me go because they set me up to lose my job. And then I lost my apartment because I couldn't. I did get another job at the Stop and Shop in Stratford at the dock. but I couldn't get there on Sundays. And when I told them that I didn't tell them, but when they told me that yes, Sundays were needed to be able to work. You needed to be available Sunday to work. And I couldn't, because the buses didn't go all the way up to the shopping center on Sunday. It only went to a certain extent, and then it turned back around and went back the other way. So, and I didn't have the money to buy a bicycle to get me the rest of the way. And I'm thinking to myself, well, how am I going to get to work on Sunday when I live on the north end of Bridgeport? I had a license, but I didn't have the money for a car. And working at Stop and Shop was not going to get me a car, and it was not going to get me enough to pay my rent and get me back and forth to work. Because when I worked at Stop and Shop in Connecticut, in Bridgeport, Connecticut, on the north end, it wasn't enough. And then, when I worked at Pathmark, it wasn't enough. Because they only hire part-time people, and it was only $5 an hour, $6 an hour. Okay? They were very cheap back then. The same problems we're going through now, I went through back then, but now I can't even afford a home or an apartment with working full-time at Walmart. Even at $15, $16 an hour, still can't afford it. Because the rents are like $2,000, $3,000. Then you got to have a car. Then you got to have a car payment. Then you got to have car insurance. Then gas. Then food. Then this. Then that. Then this. Then that. And then you got to eat out because you can't afford to be at home to cook or prepare food and bring food to work. And then you get a half an hour lunch and you can't heat up your food because there ain't a microwave. Or the microwave don't work. Or other people are using the microwave during the system is fucked up. It's out of date. But see, my son and his father has had life easy because they've been blessed by God, by the devil, and then from me suffering. Just like my mommy and my sister, they didn't finish high school. They didn't go to school. They got pregnant when they were fucking the streets and the streets were fucking them. They didn't even have money to take care of themselves or their children. And then God and the devil go hook my mom up with some fucking loser, and then he takes our mom away from us, and it repeats the cycle over and over again. And then my siblings blame me for having a rough life, for a jacked up life. No, it was my mommy's fault, their daddy's fault, the system's fault. So they all blame me, so now I'm suffering I'm being punished because of them, because of my mommy, my daddy, my sister, my son, my son's father, my stalker. Go to fucking hell, you assholes. I'm going to finish telling you this, though. Okay? In 1997, 1996 and 97, when I was still with Joe, and my stalker returned from his unexpected going away, and he came back to see me, and he knew what was going on with my life. He wanted to be that person. He wanted to be Joe. He wanted to be the Joe in my life so he could be the one that was blessed like Joe was by being with me. Because, see, Mike, my stalker, was supposed to be in Joe's place. And it would have been Mike instead of Joe that had custody of my son. And I wouldn't have even had my son Brandon, because Joe and I wouldn't have remained together. I would have probably gotten pregnant by Mike, and then it would have been Mike and our child that he would have had instead of me. So instead of it being Joe, it would have been Mike. And I would have been dead because I would have died. Because I would have either been dead or in prison, because I would not have survived if it was Mike that did that to me. And I don't even want to be with him because he's got the same name as my daddy and as my brothers. I don't even want to be with him because it's going to remind me of all the bad things that happened in my life. And then having my son is going to remind me of all the bad shit that they have all done to me. And then because I've been separated from my son for the past 20 years because of all of them. So anyway, I went on vacation in 1997. I took my vacation, and it cost me about $1,500 with the plane tickets for me and Joe, having to pay my rent, having to pay my child molester to take care of my cats while I was gone, and that was a big mistake. And then he probably let my sister stay there with her boyfriend at that time, and I don't know. But I don't know. Or he might have used my apartment in the wrong way. I don't know. I was not thinking, because I knew, because of the way things were going back then with my life, I knew everything that is taking place now, I knew was going to happen. I foresaw everything, because I knew what my uncle did by being a snitch, and I knew how my family, the choices my mommy made, and who my daddy was, and the gang that he was a part of. I knew why everything was happening and going wrong. I wasn't stupid. I'm not just finding this all. I've known. That's why I didn't reach out to my daddy. That's why I didn't go visit my grandmother in Stratford, Connecticut, when she lived down at, I forgot the name of the street, in a greenhouse down by I forgot the name of the area, in Longbrook, something, I don't know, down by Paradise Green. Okay, my foster home was right down the street on Highland Avenue, in between Main Street in Stratford and Huntington Road. All I had to do was go south. Is it southeast? I would ride my bike down there all the time around Paradise Green and around to lose weight, to keep because I was chubby, because I had low sugar or diabetes and nobody knew. So I would try to exercise, because I had this little chubby stomach like I do now. I was always 10 to 15 pounds overweight. Except when I met Joe. Actually, no, not when I went on my own. When I went on my own after foster home from 1990, 91 to 1999 to 2000, I started getting chubby, because I ate a lot of chocolate and sugar, because it was cheap and it helped my sugar level. And in the beginning, when I was with Joe, he didn't make a lot of money. He didn't have a lot of money. He didn't have any money. He was poor just like me. But God blessed him. Okay? So when I was pregnant, God allowed Joe to work to make money so we could survive. Because I ran out of money when I came to Florida at 8 months. I was 6.5 months pregnant. I ran out of money. And Joe didn't feed me. I think I lived off of an egg or two every now and then. Or when Joe had bought some sandwich meat and some cheese and lived off of sandwiches, I think I had a sandwich, every now and then. With like one piece of meat and one piece of cheese and 2 slices of bread, or 1 slice of bread. So that towards the 8th to 9th month of my pregnancy, I kind of had a sandwich a day, that's it. And either hot tea or iced tea. So anyway, but I had an 8-pound, 11-ounce baby. So, but I took care of myself from 3 months pregnant till about 7 months pregnant. For about 4 months, I took care of myself with the $1,500. I had to pay for a car repair for the car, and that took almost $1,000 and almost took all of my money. Then, and they didn't even fix anything, because the same thing was wrong with it after I got it back from the mechanic. Then I had to pay for gas, and I don't even know if I had insurance put on the vehicle or not. I can't even remember. But I drove it down here to Florida at 6 months pregnant. And I got to Florida on February 5th of 1999. February 5th was my mom's first son's boyfriend. My mother's firstborn son. And she blames me for losing him. But anyway, let me finish with my story, because my phone is dying. Whatchamacallit? So when I went on vacation and I took Joe with me, my stalker was jealous. And he was used he was like a part of the plan that my daddy used to use him to make my life miserable, to make it a triangle love story. But I wasn't in love with Joe. Joe was not in love with me. And I did have something for my stalker, which back then was my once thought possible soulmate. Because I once thought he could be my soulmate, but now he's not. He's nothing different than Joe. He's nothing different than my daddy. Nothing different than my other boyfriends that my daddy put in my path. He's the same. Furthermore, in addition, I had lost my apartment. Okay, so my stalker was jealous that I went to Orlando with Joe. And I went with Joe on a plane to Orlando. So in the in the Friends sitcom where they talk about Rachel getting on a plane and then coming back for Ross, that was kind of describing me and my situation with my stalker, my once thought possible soulmate, when I took off with Joe on a plane to Orlando for vacation to Disney. Okay, it wasn't because I wanted to be with Joe. It wasn't like, I went away because I knew in my mind the shit that I was going to go through in my life because of the incident that I did with my cousin in 1991 where I humped my cousin. So one of the times I talked out to God was because I didn't expect that. That was not on my list to do. That was not intentional. That was not something planned. That was not something I wanted to do. It happened at the spur of the moment because my first boyfriend and I split apart because we were not working. We didn't have a place to live. And I didn't plan on being with my first boyfriend either. I didn't plan on giving my virginity up to my first boyfriend. But because when I left foster home to go back, and I didn't leave foster home because I wanted to. I left foster home because I was forced to leave. Because the devil put my first boyfriend in my path. He was a friend of the two kids of the family my sister's Aunt Debbie slept with. Their father who was married with children. You see how this is all connected? So it's all affecting me. And now it's affecting me and my son, and it's going to kill me, and then my son's going to live, but he's going to end up living a short life because they're going to take him out. The whole plan is to it's like a game. It's like that centipede game. Chomp, 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 until they're all gone. Okay? So, by what my son doesn't know will and can hurt him. But they don't want him to know my truth. They don't want him to know the family truth. They don't want him to know what can and will hurt him. So they're making him live this life like a happy-go-lucky teenager, young adult, and he doesn't know anything of what's going on, of the truth. He is being led by the lies. Kind of like my mommy's sons. My mommy's sons that she gave up for adoption and lost to adoption, they don't know the full truth, but yet she's telling them it's my fault. That they went to foster home and got adopted. No, bitch, it's her fault. And your daddy's fault for being assholes and how they didn't work and do the right thing. And that's why I've lived the life I've had to live. And why my life went the way it went. So I'm not suffering because of my own things. I'm suffering because of my mommy and daddy and sister and my brothers and then my stalker and because of Joe and then my son. I'm not suffering because of me. Everything that happened was not because of me. It's because of my daddy and his fucking clan of jackass gangsters that did the shit to me. Playing with me as a puppet or a pawn on their chessboard. But I'm sitting here, what the fuck is going on? I'm not in control of my life, but I'm trying to be, and I can't But there's a reason for it, but I'm not gonna make it to live through it to tell it! Because the enemy doesn't want me to! And all of you think you're living life the right way. You're not. You're living a fucking goddamn lie. What the fuck happened to my white people is gonna happen to you. It's happening. My uncle got killed from drugs and alcohol and drinking, thinking that was the American way. All my uncles, my white uncles, my black uncle that married my aunt. My aunt married at 30 years old. He was only 18. They were together at 17, but he was adopted. And he wanted to get away from his adopted family because they were a bunch of assholes, because they're the ones that got him drinking. They're his black foster family, adopted family. Father gave him alcohol at 12 years old, smoking marijuana with him on the porch. I know this because he told me this when my aunt rejected him from being an alcoholic and a marijuana pothead. And it killed him. I had to sit and watch him die of cirrhosis of his liver. And I prayed for him a couple times that God kept him alive. But the condition, you can't survive. Your body needs the alcohol. If you stop the alcohol, you die. So, with that said, I have to go through what I went through back in my day in 1997 because my stalker is jealous because I was with Joe, and my stalker thought I wanted to be with Joe. I didn't want to be with Joe. Then I lost my job, my apartment. I had to stay with Joe. And then I had to live with him and his family. And we were not meant to be. And then his family was losing their home because it was the grandmother's home. And she was senile and imbecile. So they got the home taken from them. So then God used Joe and I got pregnant by Joe because that was my way I was going to leave. When Joe didn't want to be with me, I didn't want to be with him. But he was going to leave me with my mom and Richie. I couldn't live with my mom and Richie. If I could have, I would have been with them in the beginning. Working all the jobs I was working, I could have saved up money. So my son is leaving to go somewhere with his two friends that are coming into Florida after he just got back from the middle of the United States, or the south of the middle south, or whatever. Okay? Well, he was in both. He was in the middle and the south. But anyway. So he just got back from doing a bunch of videos. Now he's going to leave me again, and I don't have any money anyway, but yet he's going to Orlando with some friends, and he's going to spend money. But I don't want money from my son, because I'm the mother. I should be able to help take care of my son or have a home for him to come and visit me in. Oh yeah, I'm homeless 20 years in my car for the past 5 years that my son helped me to get because his father, my mommy, my daddy, my stalker, and the system fucked me out of my life. Fuck you. I hope your house of cards falls, motherfuckers. Fuck you.